Yeah, that's a really cool, it's like some kind of dragon spirit, some kind of spirit. Fuyu means winter in Japanese. The whiskey was distilled from malted grain. Mashed corn on Honshu Island before resting in oak barrels. Oh, okay. Its rich flavors make it ideal for cocktails such as old-fashioned and Manhattan. Colored dark amber. Nose floral.
Mizunara.
You're gonna get us in trouble. Good thing you're hopefully not recording.
Of course I am.
Fuck. Here we are trying to read these things and be respectful to the culture and the language, and we're just not getting it because this is totally different. Some of these words, man, they throw you way off.
Too many syllables.
Yeah, way too many. We read the word Fuyu. It's all one word.
Fuyu.
We think it's Fuyu, but no, it's Fuyu. Welcome, dear listener, to the Savor the Bird podcast. I am your host, Jonathan. My co-host, Mr. W2, is sitting across the table from me. And tonight we are trying out a small batch Japanese whiskey from Fuyu. It's got a very cool looking label on it. Very, I guess it's par for the course as far as Japanese whiskey goes.
Yeah.
Shaped bottle. It says it's dark amber, I think. I think that's what it said. But no, golden brown is what your notes say here. It's pleasing. It's aesthetically pleasing, and we're going to make a cocktail out of it. But I'm not the one that gets to tell you about all that stuff, including the description and the details on the spirit we're about to try. So, Mr. W2, I'm going to hand it over to you, please.
So we've been
we got?
We just kind of been working our way through some of these Japanese whiskeys, and we started with a $120 12-year pure malt whiskey, and now we have found ourselves in a small batch Japanese whiskey.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how far we go from the $120.
This one's down to $42.
Kuroyoshi down to a $42 bottle.
3 of these bottles for the price of Kuroyoshi.
Mm-hmm. And at 80 proof, tavern strength.
Yeah, 80 proof, so it shouldn't be all that hot. This one does have an age statement. It is 3 years. Distilled at the Fuyu distillery. Mm-hmm. The maturation on this is American white oak casks and finished for an additional 6 months in
Mizunara
barrels, which is a type of wood.
Is that the wood from that tree that has to be around for 200 years before they use it?
Yes.
That's insane. I mean, 200 years? Who has time to wait around for that?
Right.
Goodness. So, yeah. And
hopefully there's plenty of them, because...
I would hope so. Or somebody started planting them, 200 years ago, because for whatever reason, that's what they had. But this is the first Japanese whiskey that we're going to try on this podcast that has been aged in oak.
Looking through here, the artwork on this bottle, and that's one of the things that drew me to this one, just right off the bat, because it's got very, very detailed artwork on here. But the notes on here say that this particular whiskey, each label, the artwork on the label, they produce 6,000 bottles with that artwork, and that's it. And then they'll do another piece of artwork. So, and I didn't see anywhere on the label where it's numbered, but that's kind of cool. That just the artwork alone is a little bit of a limited edition.
Yeah.
But it does say on here that this handcrafted blended whiskey is sourced from 9 distilleries on the Japanese island of Honshu, which is arguably the most important island in the world of Japanese whiskey. For those not keeping track, that's the main island of Japan, housing the lion's share of Japanese whiskey distilleries. The label features some sort of giant snake dragon with many people hands confronting a rightfully confused chap with a sweet mask. So those who did not know, which actually, honestly, I did not know that the main island of Japan had its own name, which I guess makes sense. The Hawaiian Islands, each of them are named differently, so I guess that makes sense. I did not know that Honshu is the name of the main island of Japan.
Yeah, I would have just thought it was Japan. But yeah, I guess I didn't notice that until you read it. The giant snake / dragon with many people's hands. Like, it does have, like, instead of regular, like, dragon arms and legs or whatever, It's just like from like wrist down to hand, or like maybe elbow down to hand, fingertip. It's like there's like, you know, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs of hands that this dragon has. And yeah, rightfully confused chap with a sweet mask.
He does have a pretty sweet mask.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is a small batch whiskey, so not as diverse as your single barrel would be, but small batch in itself is still going to have some variations from batch to batch. And yeah, you already said the color on this is golden brown. On the nose, I'm definitely picking up the saddlewood on this one.
Holy smokes, this smells way different.
Yeah, there's definitely some peatiness on this one.
Yeah, this smells like actual smoke. It's not like this is very interesting.
I feel like out of the three that we haven't even tried this on the mouth yet.
Right.
But I feel like just on the nose, out of the three that we've tried so far, this one I feel gets closer to a Scotch-like whiskey.
Yeah. Was this supposed to be?
I'm assuming so, just based off of the historical statement that I kind of started with.
You're right. Because this is that one.
The conscious effort to recreate the style of Scotch whiskey.
Yeah, so this would be the Japanese interpretation of a standard old, you know, Scotch whiskey. So this one I'm very looking forward to trying out. So yeah, on the nose, the smoke scent is so striking to me. It's center stage. Like I'm having a hard time zeroing in on the other cast members, so to speak, in this play. But yeah, I'm ready to put this on the mouth here and try it out. Let's give it a try.
Let's do it.
Little to no burn.
Yeah, there's hardly any burn at all.
The flavor, you know, predictably smoky, smoky-esque as far as to what this has to offer. It's very unique. I wonder if this is a flavoring, or if it's a flavor given to the ingredients through a smoking process or a drying process, much like peat wood will give to whatever grain it is that they're putting in the mash for the Scotch, or if they're using a smoke flavor additive for this.
This says that we've got 50% malt and 50% grain that was aged for 3 years in American white oak cask and finished for an additional 6 months in the Mizunara barrels. Bottled at 40% ABV, only 6,000 bottles of this special edition were produced. Get it for the unique label, sip it for the well-rounded flavors. The label features some sort of the snake dragon with the many people hands.
Yeah. It's cool that they would put that in 2 different paragraphs, because I know you just copy and paste. Yeah, that's the only typo we found in this one. It's just like the reuse of that same last sentence of the paragraph.
And yeah, with this only at 80 proof, there's no burn at all. Yeah,
usually within 80 proof, there's something, and this does have something. It's, you know, the alcohol burn, but it's a flash burn and it's gone almost immediately. This is very unique. I'd like to drag old Carlo over here. You feed him some mother's milk and be like, here, I want you to try this. Tell me what you think.
Now rinse your mouth out with some more mother's milk.
Yeah.
Try this one.
Try it again and tell me what you really think.
So on the nose, in the tasting notes, it starts with
green gauges.
I'm trying to see if there's a pronunciation for that. Yeah, I guess it's gringages. It is a group of cultivars of the common European plum.
Oh, weird. Huh.
So it says it's a green fruited wild plum which originated in Iran. Gringages are grown in temperate areas. Yeah,
grown in temperate areas.
But it looks like a plum, except for it's just like bright Granny Smith apple green.
Yeah, it's Granny Smith green. But you got the gringages, you got sandalwood, a touch of earthy peat, followed by slowly developing hints of buttered rye.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see the butteredness to it. It's like smoke and butter. Since I've had zero contact with gringages, it's kind of hard to locate that on the. Well, I guess that's just on the nose, but on the palate, on the mouth, Rounded orchard fruit sweetness comes up against savory grains and subtle nutmeg warmth. I don't know. I picked up on still just a continuation of the smoke. The smoke scent translated to the smoke flavor.
Yeah, there's definitely a buttery rye element to that.
Yeah, I'm not picking up on subtle nutmeg warmth, but yeah, the savory grains would be the rye. The buttery probably be part of that whole savory aspect to it. The finish, dusty oak with earthy vanilla pod. I gotta say, 70-80% of what I'm getting on this is that smoke flavor.
The smoke and wood.
It's overpowering to me. It's like this is like what like a lot of folks have against Scotch in general. It's that smoky, that peatiness to it, and it's such a distraction to me. The smoke flavoring part of it is such a distraction to me. It's hard to zero in on any of these other points in the flavor profile. It kind of bums me out.
You know, if you remember back when we did the Highland Park 12-year and the Peat Monster Compass Box, we took the Highland Park and we'd made that Scotch sour of that. Now, granted, that Highland Park 12-year Viking Honor had a very subtle peaty smokiness to it.
Which is what we were looking for.
Which was great.
For that specific recipe.
But when we turned that into a cocktail, even though the smoky element to it was fairly subdued and subtle in it neat, it actually came through in the cocktail. And that's one of the things that we loved about that Scotch sour was the sourness of it with just a blanket of smokiness on top of that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that with as overpowering and distracting as the smokiness of this is, that once we mix some other things in there, that will help bring out those other flavors, and then it'll just kind of be blanketed with a little bit of a smokiness.
That would be good.
Around that. Cross our fingers on that one.
Yeah, cross your fingers on that one. And I would guess the when you talked about that Highland Park 12, one of the things I think that helped accentuate and bring that smoky flavor back out was using maple syrup as the sweetener.
Yeah.
If had you just used a simple syrup, it might not have been that great. But you're really good at picking out things that aren't just simple syrup as far as the sweetener goes. We've used honey syrup.
Honey syrup.
We've used maple syrup.
Agave syrup.
There's been a rosemary infused simple syrup.
I'm just looking at the tasting notes on this, and I just noticed we've talked about the nose and the palate. The finish notes on this are dusty oak and earthy vanilla pod.
Right.
Which I think is an interesting way to describe.
I've never had experience dealing with or chewing on or whatever the vanilla pod itself.
I haven't either.
It's just you cut it open, you scrape out the vanilla, you put the vanilla in whatever it is that you're cooking or creating. But the pod it gets trashed. But
I have done a rice pudding where I've put the whole vanilla bean or the whole pod in the rice pudding, but once you're done with it, you just discard the pod.
Throw that in your compost bin.
But I imagine after you scraped out the vanilla beans, I imagine that there is residual vanilla, but earthy.
If you throw those in the still or in the barrel with it, it would have to have something to it. Yeah, earthy, like it says.
The earthy vanilla pod.
But I'm so distracted by the kind of smoky flavor to it. And it's got me, hyper focused on it, wondering if it's like a chemical interpretation of what smoke is supposed to taste like for the average human. Red pill, blue pill, anyone? But I don't know. It's just it's hard for me to find these other tasting notes. Dusty oak.
Yeah. I would also add that I feel like there's a medicinal quality. Kind of that medicinal brininess, especially on the finish.
Yeah, but it's still got some sweet. I think I'm finally starting to come around to the oak to it. That 4 sips into it, I haven't tasted until now, but it's good. It's not great. It's more different, I think, than it is good. I'm trying to flesh out my my rating on this one already.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask her. Are you ready to throw a number at it? Or?
It's not going to be 7 because to me this it almost seems like it's I don't know how to articulate this. It's almost like it's like a flavor additive. Almost, it's almost like liquid smoke, or I don't know, just something that was produced to emulate something else. Which I guess historically, that's exactly what it was. It was a guy that was a huge fan of Scotch whiskey and went to go learn how to make it, and then he brought it back to Japan, and they tried like hell to make it, and they did, and this is what they came up with.
So along those lines, not to jump us ahead too far,
Okay.
but our cocktail that we're going to make on this is called Black Ship.
Black Ship.
And the history or the description of this, I thought was pretty interesting. I'll go ahead and just read it here. This intriguing cocktail is fruity, full-bodied, and pays homage to Japan's whiskey history. The story goes that in 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry, who we mentioned earlier,
Right, not Chandler Bing of Friends, but
arrived at Edo Harbor.
you can
I
say
think it's
Edo.
right. Edo Harbor on big black ships.
Okay.
But he didn't arrive alone. He came with a few barrels of whiskey and presented the emperor with America's best tipple. This was Japan's first taste of whiskey, and 2 decades later, they started importing it into the country. In the 1920s, 1923, if I remember correctly.
I remember because that was the year my grandma was born.
Okay. 1923, they started making their own, and the rest is history. Cheers.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started off down this Japanese whiskey venture, and you brought up Matthew Perry, and the bell kind of went off in my head because I had also learned about Commodore Matthew Perry and him bringing whiskey to Japan.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that he had brought it to the emperor. I think I missed that part in the Flavier Japanese whiskey video that they put out. And again, if you're looking for that, chances are it's on our a link has been shared on our Facebook from episode or 2 ago. You can definitely check that out. If you want it, send me an email, Jonathan at savortheburn.com. I'll happily send you the email, or I'll send it to you via email if you want. I had the year wrong. Grandma wasn't born in 23. She was born in 21. Sorry. I lied. I think it was 23. Was 1923 the year the Titanic went down? 23 is a year that's jumping out in my head here. Maybe because we're in 2023 right now. It's 100 years ago. So 100 years ago.
Yeah, 100 years.
Wow, 100 years ago.
Well, happy anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. Started
Japanese
making
whiskey.
their own. Yeah, started making their own Japanese whiskey. Titanic. I'll be damned. I was way off. 1912. That's enough internet for me for today. So yeah, we're gonna try this cocktail called it's just called the Black Ship, featuring the Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey, and I'm looking forward to trying that out. But before that, we'll throw a quick rating on it. Oh shit! So like I've always said, it's unfair to compare, but really,
But it's hard not to.
yeah, when you're doing this, you have to have some kind of reference, from which to base your future evaluations upon. So all that to say, I'm gonna go back on my previous experiences with Japanese whiskey and other whiskeys and bourbons that we've either tried here on the podcast or on our own. For me, this one by itself, I'd put it under a 5, maybe a 4. I don't think, maybe even less, maybe a 3, because I don't see myself ever reaching for this. Now, unless this cocktail comes out, slaps me around and be like, hey, fucker, this is where you're missing out. Maybe this shines in a cocktail, and I don't know yet. I'm always really hesitant to throw anything under a 5 or whatever, because I feel like they've put a lot of work into this. And for just some idiot, on a podcast thinking he knows stuff, to come out and be like, oh, this is a 4, but I'm going to keep it at 4. I'm not going to go down to a 3. I'll keep it at a 4 because in the end, it's just me interpreting the flavors that I can't quite get to. I think, right off the bat. It was just one pour. Who knows? Maybe if I do run out and get a bottle and I get through half of it, over the course of, a week or two, I'll 100% be able to pick up on these other things like Dusty Oak and Earthy Vanilla Pod or Rounded Orchard Fruit Sweetness. Comes up against savory grains with subtle nutmeg warmth. I would be happy to taste those in this, but really right now I'm just kind of blindsided and distracted by the smoke flavor that I feel is artificial in some way. But that's just me. So so I think I'm going to stick to a 4 as far as my evaluation goes on this. And I go to the post I made in the Kansas City Whiskey Guild. For
anyone out there try it?
I've got no comments. It's been up for 23 minutes. I said, we're about to try this small batch Japanese whiskey from Fuyu. Anyone here tried it? Thoughts? But it's crickets.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Yep, chirp, 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 chirp. Somebody else 17 hours ago posted a couple bottles. I guess they're in Japan. They picked up a Master's Keep
I saw that.
Wild Turkey. You already saw this. Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
And Stag.
The Stag Junior.
Stag Junior.
Man, I'm kicking myself.
Yeah?
Last time I was up at Stanley Station, I got, I was going through and I forget what I was picking up that day, but I got pulled aside and I was like, hey, got one bottle of Stag Junior sitting on the desk back there that I'm waiting on the right person to let it go. Are you interested?
Barrel proof, unfiltered.
And I was like, and I had, I had picked up the Redbreast 12-year cask strength.
Uh-huh. You already had some stuff.
So I already had that in my hand. I'm like,
And the Blantons.
And so I passed on it, and I haven't been back up there since, but I'm going to go back up there, and there's no chance in hell, but I'm going to say, do you still have that Stag Junior? Because that's another one of those that I keep hearing.
Maybe they don't have that, but
about.
they'll have it again, and they'll keep you in mind.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, you're the guy. They know you. You're in the inside scoop or whatever. I was actually trying to stop by today on my way over, but I made a right when I should have made a left, and I was like, fuck, it's already 7. I don't have time. I'm not gonna keep W2 waiting, so I'm just gonna head on over. And but they close at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. But this is a 4 for me. Just first impression is just kind of confusion and just kind of startled by the
overbearing smoke.
Yeah, the overwhelming, air quote smoke flavor that I don't know if it's real or if it's chemically reproduced or what. I don't know. But I'm definitely looking forward to it in a cocktail because sometimes these spirits will surprise you. Give it a low rating.
Gotta wake them up.
Yeah. The spirits will awake when you add things to them. Stir it, shake it, see what happens. This one's actually getting shaken.
This one's going to get shaken.
You're going to shake the dragon. If I had a nickel.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 4.5.
4.5. You're going to rate it higher than me?
I'm going to rate it higher than you. And if for no other reason, I agree with everything you said. If there's no other reason, I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I want to remain optimistic as I go back and revisit it.
Okay.
A few more times.
And I hope you do.
The course of it. So
I hope you do. Because even at 4 or 4.5, like you have it, they've been doing this for 100 years.
Yeah.
It's shown. Is this the one that showed up in a Bill Murray movie?
I don't know.
I'll have to go back and revisit that Flavier video that they made. But I'm pretty sure Bill Murray had something to do with the how Blanton's was hard enough to find.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Murray was flashing this bottle and drinking it straight or whatever in his glass. And if this is the one I'm thinking of, then this bottle became very hard to find because everybody was like, "Oh, Bill Murray likes it in this movie," just like John Wick and Blanton's.
Right.
I gotta have it, but I think that was in the 80s. Probably.
Yep.
Dear listener, we're just now getting back from the cocktail mixing part of the recording and all the festivities of the night, so to speak. And there was a little mishap with some of the hardware that happened here. Some of the cutlery decided to cut.
Yep.
It happens.
The peeler peeled my finger.
The unfortunate thing, I think, is as red as this cocktail is, I didn't get enough blood and gore in my cocktail. I really enjoy a fair amount. I'm a big fan. Anyway, hopefully your finger gives a speedy recovery. But this cocktail is called the Black Ship. Mm-hmm. What all we got in this thing?
Yeah, the Black Ship pays homage to the ships that Commodore Matthew Perry sailed to Japan to basically open up the trade again.
Yeah,
and delivered
pretty much single-handedly opened up the trade route with Japan.
I mean, if you show up on your doorstep bearing barrels of whiskey,
I guess.
Okay.
All they had was sake and shochu. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. And then somebody shows up at your front door with barrels full of whiskey and scotch. Your mind has to be blown. I don't think I've ever had shochu. I don't think I've ever heard of it until this episode of Savor the Burn. But I have had sake. I've only had it once. It was at a ramen restaurant down in the Plaza area on Broadway here in KC. Unfortunately, they're out of business now, but it happens. The pandemic took a lot of businesses away from us. But I remember sake is a rice wine, right?
Yeah.
They gave me a shot of it, I think it was, and it tasted like a bad spirit filtered through a dirty sock.
And there's a lot of different types of sake.
I knew there had to be. So I knew my first experience with sake was trash. But there had to be something that was great out there. I know there has to be.
There's warm sake, there's cold sake, and there's a world of different types of sake and flavors.
I'm here for it. I'm definitely wanting to try it because I've had bad. I would like to try good, and I would love to try great.
Well, like we talked about earlier, I'm hoping that the smokiness of this whiskey kind of comes through. But this Black Ship is made up of whiskey. Mm-hmm. Japanese whiskey, to be specific. Mm-hmm. It has pomegranate juice, which is new to our cocktail.
Yeah, we haven't tried that one before in
repertoire. Port wine.
We haven't had that in a cocktail.
We haven't had that in a cocktail. And then fresh squeezed lemon juice.
And we have had lemon juice.
And I attempted to give us a fresh lemon peel twist, and instead I peeled my finger.
It looks to me like you peeled the lemon one way or another and made it happen.
Yep.
It looked like the blade on that peeler was not in a fixed position.
Yeah,
it looks like it rolled somehow.
It does roll a little bit, which I think it's supposed to.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I need to either learn how to use it a little bit better or
throw it in the trash.
Throw it in the trash.
Yes. If thine peeler offends thee, cast it out. Well, I'm looking forward to trying this out. Cheers, good sir.
Cheers.
Being right over all the electronics.
And the pomegranate juice in this gives us and the port wine also gives it a really dark red color.
Yes, it's quite beautiful. I'm picking up on the port, the sweetness.
There's a hint of that smokiness. Mm-hmm. But the pomegranate and the port pushed it quite a ways back.
However, I really like this cocktail.
Yeah, it's got a good flavor.
I really do. It's very fruity. It's very pleasant. It's full bodied. It's not like a light, refreshing, like whiskey sour or like you remember the snake bite and the Scotch sour. Mm-hmm. It was like a refreshing kind of lemonade or whatever with some alcohol in it.
Right.
Spiked. This is not that. It's like a fruit punch, like a Hawaiian punch, but if you have like a smoky whiskey in it, I think.
Yeah.
Just first and second impressions on this one. This is a really good cocktail. I would think this would go over well. This would make a great punch, like a spiked punch. Like if you mix this up ahead of time and served it at a cookout, I think it would go over well. And you've sent some TikToks, I think, to me, either Instagram Reels, TikToks, or Shorts. You know, that everybody's all about these short videos,
right?
And I myself included, I love them. So it's cool to see that some folks are thinking about making these in a big batch and having it ready to go ahead of time. If not for personal use, then for sharing with others.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. I think
we should be sharing them with others.
There's a couple of them out there that kind of set up the larger. You know, they'll mix a glass cocktail and then they'll do what they call a refrigerator door bottle, and so you know they're doing the big batch, the big iced tea jug or pitcher. Go in your refrigerator door.
Yeah, make it ahead of time in a pitcher and just have it ready to go. Which, if I remember right, you have like a coworker or something, a boss that wanted you to do cocktails at some point.
Yep.
So maybe you have a short list of cocktails to offer, and people like you can mix up some of this stuff ahead of time and save some work on yourself. Leave the potato peeler at home.
Definitely, yeah. We'll not be touching the potato peeler anytime soon.
But yeah, this is very tasty. I like it. I like it a lot. It's hard not to grab the drink grab the coupe glass by like the main bowl of it. It's like I feel like I'm gonna lose grip of it by grabbing by the stem and holding it with two hands, like on the base and the stem. I feel just fucking childish.
Yeah, that's very good. And the pomegranate juice gives it just such a different and unique flavor.
I would expect, you didn't use any sweeteners in this at all.
Nope.
So I'm surprised it is so sweet. It must be from the pomegranate juice. Like pomegranate juice has a lot of tart for me, you know, like kind of like cranberry.
The port is going to be a source of a lot of sweetness.
Okay.
There's not a lot of port in it.
I expected the port to give me this depth to the flavor profile in this cocktail, which is there. It's got a deep fruitiness. It's got a fruitiness, a light fruitiness from the pomegranate, and the lemon brings it a brightness, a kind of zing, a zest, or whatever to the drink. And the whiskey, the Japanese whiskey, and for this cocktail, once again, the Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey is bringing the alcohol content to it and the smokiness. Whether it be natural or artificial, I don't know, but I'm happy with the way this turned out.
And I'm just reaching over and grabbing another piece of this chocolate bark.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. And you were talking about the thank you once again, Miss Katie, for making the delicious sweet treats for the Savor the Burn podcast that these poor listeners will unfortunately probably never get to enjoy unless she starts up her own page. Savor the sweet treats, or whatever. She's got herself a little side gig.
Savor the treat.
SavorTheTreat.com. But you were talking about you saw a lot of different versions of this cocktail, and they all involved a Japanese whiskey.
This cocktail, specifically the Black Ship, every variation I saw of it had the exact same ingredient measurements.
Okay.
But what I thought was interesting was one had it built in a shaker and shaken. Another one had it in a mixing glass with ice and stirred, not to anger the spirits.
Right.
And one had it in a martini glass. Another had it in a coupe. Another had it in a rocks glass. Which I thought about doing the rocks glass, but the majority of our cocktails are in a rocks glass. So I thought, well, if I have an opportunity to use the coupe glass, let's do that. And the glass was chilled, but it's actually double strained into a glass, no ice.
Right. The rocks glass, cocktail glass.
It had a large cube in it.
Was that shaken or stirred in ice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Huh.
So, and I settled on deciding to do a shaken because I thought, well, this cocktail is inspired by paying homage to the black ships arriving in the harbor in Japan.
Reintroducing Japan into the trade.
And if you're at sea, you're going to be shaken.
Yeah.
So let's shake it up. And
much like what we love Jefferson Ocean for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I decided to, none of the recipes called for or mentioned anything about doing the double strain, but I decided to do that. I've actually been doing it on a lot of different ones lately, more so than I have in the past, just because I have noticed that the shaker itself has a large hold strainer in the top of it, but using a fine mesh cocktail strainer as a secondary measurement helps filter out those shards of ice from the shaking. It helps filter out pulp from any of your freshly squeezed juices and any of those other things. So to me, the biggest reason to do the double strain is to help clarify your cocktail and give you a little bit cleaner, smoother finish on it.
I had wondered about that. Maybe in the future we can do a video on a short or a reel or something, to help inform people, bring value, to the viewer as to why that would be good. Yeah, maybe with a little bit of articulation. I don't know why I did the Italian chef's kiss hand, holding it up, waving it around like I know what I'm doing, but I'm not Italian. But with a little work on the. Sorry, I was just like I started thinking about my 23andMe results. There's some Italian, but like not a lot. It's like. It's somewhere in the Iberian Peninsula of that region, but that's Spain. Whatever. So I'm just trying to. It said something about Spain in there somewhere, but I'm out of it. Fuck it. But that's not Italy. Spain is not Italy. But yeah, this is a great cocktail. I would suggest this at a party. I think this is a great party cocktail.
Most definitely.
After trying it, is there anything you would change about it? More of something, less of something, the addition of something not on the ingredients list?
I don't think so. I think it's fairly
what do you think
balanced.
A sprig of rosemary would do to this?
Throw it in a completely different direction.
Probably in the direction it doesn't need to go.
I might. So we used 2 ounces of the Japanese whiskey. I might try to leave everything as is. Push that whiskey up just a little bit more. 2 1/4, 2 1/2? 2 1/4, 2 1/2. Get a little bit more burn out of it. Maybe a little bit more. Even though the peaty smokiness is there, the pomegranate and port sweetness is really kind of covering over that. So a little bit more.
Yeah, this cocktail
will kind of push it.
With this recipe, the Savor the Burn recipe, it doesn't let the whiskey shine, which is what we love to do. Not shine like moonshine, but take center stage, kind of spotlight on the whiskey of choice that we're using. So I you know what, I really do like it. I really do. I've been taking a little time with mine, pulling the sip. One, because I have sensitive teeth up on the top up here. I had my dentist look at it and was like, well, you got a lot of fillings in there, and hopefully it won't result in a root canal, so I'll send you home with a tube of Sensodyne. But this has been consistently fucking with me since we recorded the last 2 singles with Axel Harvey Productions. So for 1408 and Copycat, it seems like ever since that day, these teeth up here in the top and the back have been kind of sensitive. So that's why I'm trying to take it easy. 1, but 2, it's really good, and I'm trying to just kind of make it stretch and take my time with it. Savor that motherfucking burn. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I like the tartness of the pomegranate. I like the sweetness of the port and the depth of the port. I like the brightness of the lemon peel zest thing that we got in there, and you twisted it so it got expressed in there. So that was writing on the top, probably pulled all that off. But I mean, it's got the lemon juice in there. It's got
Yeah, and it only has a quarter ounce. Quarter ounce is not a whole lot. After I cut my twists out in there, I fresh squeezed it. I got more than what I needed.
So this recipe, I've got zero complaints for it whatsoever. I really like it. I think you hit the ball out of the park, out of the field. And I think to hit it out of the park would be to throw that extra half ounce of whiskey you were talking about. But to kick it up another notch, another level, maybe do something with a garnish.
Yeah.
Maybe a candied peel, or take when you were creating the cocktail, you sliced the lemon into some wheels before you took the peel off with a knife. Maybe you take one of your lemon slices that are dehydrated, or just a regular fresh cut lemon slice. Sprinkle it with sugar or brown sugar, and then hit it with your torch.
Oh yeah.
And then, I don't even think squeeze it and put it in there. Just put it in there.
Yeah.
And maybe let it sit for a minute. And
float it.
And enjoy
float it right on top.
Float it on top. And then...
I like that idea.
I think Emerald would say, BAM! This cocktail here, it's not sweet.
Yeah.
Instead of sweet, it's got depth. It's got a fullness of flavor. And I think that's from the combination of the port... wine and the pomegranate, which helps accentuate the smokiness in this Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey. But like we said, adding another half ounce there would help bring the Fuyu single batch Japanese whiskey to center stage, where I think it belongs. The way Savor the Burn creates its cocktail recipes, Savor the Burn W2 pretty much moves the spirit center stage. But this one is for those of you that don't have a really super strong sweet tooth. It's if you like savory things, things with the umami that showed up in the five, or the taste senses or whatever in the last 5 years. I was like, what the fuck is umami? It's that savory flavor. Okay, well, just fucking say savory. Yeah, but it doesn't fully encompass the whole thing. Like, get your pinky down and shut the fuck up. but yeah, so this doesn't have umami, but it does have a depth of flavor to it. And the only reason I brought up the torch on the sugar, on the fruit, however you want to put it on there, the citrus fruit specifically. I mean, if you put brown sugar on a banana and torched it and dropped it in there, I'd probably just eat the fucking banana. But whatever. Anyway, so I don't know why I'm talking about. We're both looking at the banana whiskey I got over there, the Howler Head that we have yet to get into, and I'm looking forward to trying that with Miss Katie at some point, because I brought that over specifically so she could try it in a cocktail of some kind. But yeah, this cocktail would be great as for a party. For a social gathering of some sort. Yeah, 100% recommend this one. The Black Ship, featuring Fuyu, small batch Japanese whiskey, and pomegranate juice, port wine, lemon juice, a chilled coupe glass. It was great in a coupe glass. It kind of reminded me of a Manhattan. Only in color and just the glass shape, because I think we had a Manhattan in the coupe glasses. I don't think we had it in the martini glasses, but if we did
have it in the martini glass.
We did,
because it was the High West double rye, and I did not have the coupe glasses yet.
Okay, all right. Well, I stand corrected.
We had the Boulevardier,
with Chandler.
Yep.
I looked over at the empty chair. Like Chandler sitting here. You're like, oh, yeah, I was here, fuckers. Thanks for reminding me that you already fucking forgot. No, we did not forget. Hopefully, by the time you've listened to this, you've listened to all of the episodes that we did with Chandler, including the Juneteenth episode.
Yeah.
Where he talked about his Pick Progress project, and how he tries to help empower his fellow black man with encouraging words and stories, and I think that's good. It's not just good for black men and women. It's also just good for humanity in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean nobody gets out of this world alive. We're all facing that deadline, and what does it hurt to try to get along with one another? Really, I think we should just get along. We should get over our problems with each other based on superficial bullshit, and work together for the greater good of humanity. But that's the idealist. That's the idealist in me speaking. I really don't know what else to say. Like I watched the I listened to recent to me episode of Time Suck, and Dan Cummins, comedian and host of Time Suck. He it was an episode on George Carlin, and it anytime anymore ever since watching that documentary on Netflix, I think it was, of George Carlin. His daughter said, "Scratch the surface of the cynic, and you will find a disappointed idealist." So I totally get that. Like I can be very cynical at times, and it's only because I'm just so upset with humanity for being so fucking stupid when it comes to the main and plain things that we should all be in agreement on.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something great to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Just get over yourself and enjoy it. I guess put myself on another soapbox for no apparent reason. But yeah, hopefully, dear listener, you've listened to the Juneteenth episode, and you've listened to Chandler speak his truth on that, and his passion on that, and you found a way to maybe share and support that message that he's put out there. What do you think, Mr. W2? Let's wax poetic, sir. Oh, fuck, you're empty. One of these days, I'm going to have to mix something up. When you wax poetic on things from time to time, when you get philosophical in your wizard beard mind.
My wizard beard.
That still fucking cracks me up.
And we're back to that.
Right, yeah, a little ball kicking, but it's all in good fun. I'm not actually doing it to hurt any feelings or anything. But when you wax poetic, what do you think about when you're feeling the spirits that you've been drinking and you're in good company?
I agree 100% with everything that you said. We had such a good time having Chandler on, and it was great to get him in to not only to enjoy some cocktails and some drinks with us, but have an opportunity to just talk about projects that are near and dear to him, and that, and yeah, it's one of those things where everyone should just take a moment and put yourself in someone else's shoes and see things from a different perspective and see things from another point of view. We should all be reminded that being a little bit more inclusive of everyone and around us just makes the world a better place.
It does. Makes it better. It just makes it easier to navigate.
Yeah.
When we all take a moment and look at the common ground before us.
Yeah.
We've all got we all want the best for our friends and for our family. We want our kids to have a good education. We want a strong military, to protect us against dumb shit, forces that want to impose their values upon us. Hopefully we don't want to impose our values upon other people unless it's more tolerance at the by means of violence.
Yeah.
Like, you must fucking accept these people, motherfucker. I'm gonna kill you. Like, that seems too extreme. But there are people that operate in that mindset. It drives me fucking nuts. In other news, I don't know. I just felt myself getting back on the soapbox that I'm not looking to get on. But I checked our post in the Kansas City Whiskey Guild Facebook group. And really, we've got 2 likes on it, and 1 comment says, "I haven't tried that one yet. I haven't tried that one ... yet. What did you think of it?" Well, we will respond to that, I'm sure. But for now, we're still stuck at. You said 4.5, and I said 4. Turn my sheet back over, and we were just kind of.
Where did this cocktail land for you?
All right, so this cocktail Like I said, I have zero problems with it. Like it's at least 8.5 or 9, because it's even though it's not in my particular wheelhouse of sweet cocktails, sweet things that I love to enjoy, which is a good thing for me because I'm so drawn to the sweetness, to the sweet things that I rarely find something. It's almost to a fault. Like I'm just. People think that I don't like anything unless it's sweet or fucking fried chicken, So like I just, I'm actually very happy to find this because it's not just sweet. It's it's naturally sweet, which I would prefer. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of adding sugar to things, but unless it's a natural sweetener like agave syrup or pure maple syrup or honey, right? So that's my addendum on that. But I find this naturally sweet in a tart and deep way. So I would easily throw an 8.5 or 9 on this cocktail, and that's involving the Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey that I gave a 4.
Yeah, you've better than doubled.
Yes, easily doubled, and then some. So even with that, I agree that throwing an extra half ounce of this whiskey into that cocktail would make it better.
Yeah, that's the thing that I love about this, because time and time again, we've had a lot of whiskeys that we've tried that have been in that 6 and 7 range, and then we turn it into a cocktail, and then, that's an 8.
Yeah.
And, depending on the cocktail, I mean, that's kind of expected. But to say that using this whiskey for a cocktail more than doubles its rating, that's a big statement to me.
Yeah.
And that's, we've talked about before, some bourbons are great by themselves. Some bourbons are better as a cocktail.
Yeah, the case in point right here.
Obviously, this is one of those, but to be able to have that drastic of an elevation,
I don't think that's ever happened.
I think that says something, and maybe part of that's a cocktail. Part of that maybe this whiskey. It'd be kind of curious to see what this cocktail would come in as with some other Japanese whiskey.
Yeah,
or even another Scotch.
The other Japanese whiskeys that we've tried tonight did not have the smokiness to them.
Right. And they didn't have any smokiness to them.
I probably wouldn't give this an 8.5 or 9 if it didn't have the smokiness to it, because I was expecting that, and if I didn't get it, I'd be upset. I'd be all butthurt. I'm like, man, what the fuck? I don't know why I went droopy dog. You fuck? I expected smokiness in my cocktail. Yeah, but that's definitely saying something. So I would guess I would venture to say that the Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey for me it retails at $42. It's 80 proof, tavern strength, whatever you want to call it. It works better as an ingredient in a cocktail than it does straight.
I agree with that 100%.
So that hits. So we both agree on the final thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I might land this one in at a 7.5.
As far as the rating on the cocktail goes.
On the cocktail, yeah.
Okay.
But that's still considerably up from a 4.5.
Yeah, it doesn't double it for you, but it's close.
Yeah,
it's still a vast improvement. So yeah, we're gonna wrap this episode on that note. So I'm really glad that you brought these Japanese whiskeys for this batch of episode recordings, and I'm really glad you did. I think you went through quite a bit to try to find this cocktail. What eventually led you to this cocktail, Black Ship Cocktail. I mean, how specific is that? I mean, just the name. Like talking to Commodore Matthew Perry, the guy that just pulled a dime bag and kicked the door open to influence trade with the Japanese emperor.
And now it's a whole industry.
Cool it's a whole fucking industry.
Yeah.
This guy, the creator of the Fuyu, I'm not sure if we have his name here.
I mean, to the point where it is actually a recognized whiskey type.
Yeah.
So
as recognized as as recognized as Tennessee whiskey or Kentucky whiskey or Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah,
or
Scotch.
Scotch even. Yeah, because that's what he tried and that's what he loved and that's what he sought out to do, to replicate and, like you said, pay homage to his scotches that he tried out and that he loved. So he just wanted to recreate it and do it in a Japanese, with a Japanese flair. And as much as I was really looking forward to trying this out, I was like, fuck, man, I bet it's really good. I mean, if he loves scotches, I'm a big fan of scotch. Like, I wonder what these Japanese guys are doing. I'm really looking forward to trying this. And at the smell, on the nose, I was like, this is very different, but it's kind of overpowering as far as the smoke goes. I wonder what it's like on the mouth. On the mouth, it was all I could taste.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And then the finish, it was like, fuck, it's really all I can taste. I wonder if this is artificial. And so that's why I gave it the 4. But it definitely kicks ass in this cocktail that you found. So, dear listener, if you're looking for a unique cocktail, something that involves pomegranate juice, maybe a little port wine, good old lemon juice, maybe lemon zest, and a Japanese whiskey, I would recommend getting the Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey with the dragon and the rightfully confused chap with a sweet mask on the label. Pick up that bottle and use it for an ingredient in a really wonderful cocktail.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have a sweet tooth, if you don't like sour mash whiskeys, definitely try this out. And
$42.
$42 is really not. It's not a gamble.
Yeah.
$42 for a whiskey.
For an imported whiskey.
For an imported whiskey that came from Japan, like halfway across the world.
Yep.
I think it's worth the $42 to have it in your whiskey cabinet to use as an ingredient for a great cocktail. I would put this cocktail in the upper end of good, if not great cocktails. Like I said, I think I gave it 8.5, 9, and you gave it a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
If the Black Ship cocktail were on my horizon of cocktails that I want to make, and it might actually be now, after having been introduced to it with a whiskey that I would consider substandard at a level 4. Level 4, I used a B where a V should be. Stupid whiskey. But I would try to. This might end up in my collection of whiskeys to use as an ingredient. And in the future, I'm looking forward to what you can come up with on your own as far as either perfecting this cocktail or coming up with a different cocktail. This might work great in a Manhattan, a Japanese Manhattan. Is there a Manhattan in Japan? A Japan-hattan. Japan. There's probably some wordsmithing that needs to happen before I say it live on air. But yeah, definitely try it out. And so, dear listener, if you have any thoughts, comments on the Fuyu small batch Japanese whiskey, if you think that we're completely wrong and we need to try it this way or that way, any other way, please email us, info@savortheburn.com. Email me to tell me I'm right or I'm wrong or somewhere in between, Jonathan@savortheburn.com. Mr. W2@savortheburn.com. Please email us if you have any suggestions as far as what you would like to hear us review. If you would like to give us a cocktail suggestion, maybe something that's off the beaten path. Like personally, when I travel, I like to check out atlasobscura.com, see those not so popular tourist destinations. And when I went to Cleveland recently, I found myself in a graveyard looking at the Hazrat Angel statue. Completely stunning. Anyway, so definitely check us out and give us your feedback one way or another. You can even leave us a voicemail.
Yeah.
If you go to Savor the Burn, scroll down to Contact, and it'll take you to Spotify, is it?
It is on Spotify. Yep.
Spotify, there's a little microphone icon. You can leave us a message that way. Or if you know us personally, you can just leave us a fucking voicemail. We will play it on air. Possibly. But definitely check out savorthebird.com, like I talked about with the contact information. Check out the liquor cabinet and see how everything on there in the drop-down menu is constantly being updated and upgraded and new things being added all the time. Find us on socials, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Drop us a subscribe on YouTube, Savor the Burn, or at Savor the Burn. You can find us that way. Thank you once again for listening to us on your favorite podcast app of choice, included but not limited to Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google, Samsung, and many more. And always, dear listener, no matter what you do, where you are, who you're drinking with, who you're sharing every experience you have with, waxing poetically with, always remember to keep on burning.